Good day for us. Well battled. And begin.
Howdy everyone, and welcome to the second episode in our Tapping the Keg series. In this series, we will give you a first taste of a game and offer our thoughts and personal opinions of that game. This episode will feature Cuphead. Enjoy. Welcome, noobs. This is your guide, Raddedd, and I'll be your bartender for this binge. Ever since playing the game Cave Story as a kid, I have been a huge fan of 2D platformer games. I always loved the challenge of getting your moves just right so as to hit that near perfect run to overcome the baddies and bosses presented in the game. When I saw that a new game was doing a throwback to classic platforming, I knew that I had to try it out, and man am I glad that I did. Our first drink tonight is the setting, style, and overall feel of the game, because I think that's what made the game so viral to begin with. It's a beautiful game, and it's extremely stylized to replicate early to mid 1900s cartoons such as Mickey Mouse and Looney Tunes. The game is so committed to this endeavor, in fact, that it not only replicates the animation and art style, music, sound effects, and voice acting of the era, but also the film graininess and resolution. The game locks at full screen 720p, and the audio quality in many areas of the game, especially voice acting, sounds terrible, honestly, and that's to the game's benefit, as it absolutely nails the style the creators were going for. One example that really jumped out at me was when you encounter the shopkeep for the first time.
Welcome.
The only area I think the game really missed the mark in this regard was the music. It was too clear at times, and it sometimes broke the illusion, but never for very long, and that's only a very minor gripe I have with the style of the game. Round 2 is the story. I think this was the weakest aspect of the game overall, as the story was very simplistic. But I also don't think the story was meant to be anything beyond a plot driver. I am spoiling nothing by telling you that the story is basically that you're a cup who has a gambling problem, and through that gambling problem, you get indebted to the devil to go collect his debts for him. As luck would have it, his debts are owed by powerful boss creatures who are sprinkled throughout the game, and you are meant to defeat for the devil.
And begin.
Drink 3 this evening is gameplay, and boy is this the aspect where Cuphead shines. The game pulls gameplay elements from many different games, old and new, and I think that's another aspect of the game that's made it so popular. The world map and particular levels are obviously inspired by early 2D games such as Mario. In these levels, you run from one side of the level to the other, smashing your way through baddies and gathering coins to buy upgrades with. More on that later. There are other levels inspired by shoot 'em up or bullet hell games that present a different type of skill to master to complete. Some obviously new gameplay inspirations were taken from games like Dark Souls, in which you are meant to defeat a very powerful baddie by memorizing his moves and getting that perfect run in order to defeat them. That's obviously not a gameplay dynamic that is unique to Dark Souls. Many games have done that throughout the years, but it got very popular in the Dark Souls series. There are other inspirations, but these seem to be the core of Cuphead's gameplay, and it was very refreshing to see all of these gameplay aspects coming together into a cohesive and fun experience.
A great slam and then It's on!
Our fourth drink of the night, if you can handle any more, is combat, difficulty, and character progression. Throughout the game, you collect gold coins, which are the currency you use to upgrade your character. You buy skills and items from the shopkeep, and those skills and items can be equipped at the world map via your character menu. These skills and items come together to form your character build you use to do combat with throughout the game. Though the system is fairly simplistic, I found that some weapons are better against certain bosses than others, as their behavior is better suited to the fight. A great example of this was Bebby the Clown, who I found easier to deal with after equipping a different primary weapon. The fight is still not easy, mind you. Screw this clown. The combat itself is fairly reminiscent of most 2D shooters, such as the previously mentioned example Cave Story, and it also has many of the same challenges as other 2D shooters. For instance, if enemies are anywhere between 0 and 90 degrees of you, it can be really hard to hit at times. And the game takes full advantage of that fact in designing some of the harder elements of boss fights. And that brings me to my last point in this review, the difficulty. Yes, the game is hard. It's really, really, really fucking hard and frustrating. It doesn't hold your hand at all, and it doesn't even prepare you for the slaughtering you're about to endure. Do not be fooled by the smiles and happy music of all the creatures in the game. Cuphead is an absolutely brutal bloodbath, which will sometimes make you want to cry. One level in particular I got stuck on was the first airplane level. I must have died over 50 times trying to complete this level, and at certain parts, I was just sitting there in defeat. But through painstaking effort, about 40 minutes of practice, and a little luck, I finally beat that stupid Zeppelin asshole bitch. I beat it. I jumped around my apartment, screaming, "Fuck yeah." And that's the point I realized that I knew what Cuphead was about. Cuphead is a unique 2D stylized game for gamers who like the difficulty of a good challenge. It has difficult platforming, timing elements, and good old-fashioned single-player RPG elements. I highly recommend this game to any gamer who enjoys overcoming extremely difficult battles after hours of practice, or who enjoyed a good arcade session back in the day. I give this game 5 out of 6 beers and 2 Monster Energy drinks. You're gonna need them for the boss fights. Most importantly, however, the game is fun. And that's really why I gave it such a good score. I'm a gamer that grew up on 2D platformer games, and it really feels like Cuphead was made for someone like me. It truly is a riot to play, especially when it's not trying to nail you in the ass. Howdy everyone, this is Raddedd. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you think we earned it, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to leave a comment below. We'll be sure to check it out and respond to as many as we can. Thanks for watching everyone, and cheers!